Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City. On the broadcast today, State Senator Scott Hammond joins us for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Come join the month-long celebration during the Carson Valley Inn 13th Anniversary Giveaways with guaranteed $1,000 winners every drawing night and a $13,000 grand prize winner guaranteed. Come celebrate with us during the 13th Anniversary Giveaways at the Carson Valley Inn.
Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot hardware store and a whole lot more. It's huge, with clothing, power equipment, tools, and of course, hardware. Big R is located on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and opposite Reed High School. Big R, hardware, and a whole lot more.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City. We're in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Always a pleasure to welcome back to the program Scott Hammond. He's a state senator from District 18. Pleasure to have you back, sir.
It's great to be back again here with you and just talking some issues and stuff.
I certainly hope so. You're a member of Senate Commerce and Labor, Senate Education, and Growth and Infrastructure. So the first thing I want to ask you about is my favorite topic, which is what can you tell us about the new airport at Ivanpah?
I can't tell you much. I don't know much more about it than most other people do. So I can't tell you much. I wish I could. I don't know where we are with that, but I hope it is coming along soon.
Okay, I mean, isn't this going to be one of the biggest infrastructure projects that we've seen in the Silver State? It
has been, but it's a long time coming. I think that when you get to the airport, you think, how close are we to Vegas? It's like people just can't believe that they're getting off and then getting into the Strip in 2 minutes, which is nice, but it certainly does we need another airport out there.
Okay, and do you think people are going to have a problem? Because now the discussion is that not only will it be freight at Ivanpah, but it'll also be passenger service. Brightline is talking about putting in a stop if they're able to get their train done, that they'll have a problem with a 25, 30-minute train ride to get into Vegas?
I don't think they'll have much of a problem with that. Again, if you look at some of the major metropolitan areas around the West that have changed over the last 10, 20 years, Denver. I mean, I remember the first time I went to Denver, saw the city, and then we were leaving. My family and I were in our little minivan, and we're heading out. And about 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, I'm like, what is that out there? It was the airport. And the airport was so far away. Now, of course, it's a little closer because population started moving that way.
Right.
And so it's not quite as bad of a drive, but they also put a lot of heavy rail out there so that they're bringing passengers in. And actually, they did a really good job with their infrastructure. And that's what we need. I mean, our city is growing. We've got, we're becoming not only a major center for entertainment, but we also have a lot of sports that are going in. And so it's expanding. And we're bringing more passengers in, we're bringing more visitors in, so it's sorely needed.
What do you think about this whole Formula One deal? I mean, they're starting the paving of the roads now, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It's pretty exciting.
And I think they just finished, if I'm not mistaken, the building, there's a certain
Yes,
structure, the paddock that's gone in, and so they finished that. It is exciting. I mean, Formula One is really kind of a sport that I know a lot of people don't get into it. I know a lot of people don't maybe watch it, but I think it's because they're not exposed to it. And so as soon as you're exposed to it, you've seen it one time, you get hooked. You want to watch it a little bit more. And I know it's exciting when you're there and you're present, you hear those engines and you're just, part of the pun, revved up for some excitement, right? So I think it's going to be a great sport addition, a great addition to our sports that we're doing. Formula One is great. I mean, we've got a great speedway down there as well that brings in a lot of tourists during the year. So this is just one more thing that I think is going to put a lot of people into Vegas during that time.
They're saying $1 billion weekend. $1 billion weekend.
$1 billion.
That's stunning.
That's sports for you, right? We love that.
Yeah, and high end. It's not just that it's a big sporting event. I mean, it's huge in terms of the money that people have that come to these events. I mean, it's all over the world. Let's talk about some other issues here. You were the champ. I get a lot of emails when we put out our list to say that people are coming on the show. You were the champion of education savings accounts in the 2015 legislature, which was passed although the Supreme Court later struck down its funding mechanisms. Mm-hmm. Now you're sponsoring SB 200, which would revive and allocate $58.3 million towards ESAs. What is the future of ESAs, especially since Governor Lombardo has called education savings accounts and opportunity scholarships small bites of the larger apple of school choice?
The future of ESAs are coming, and I'm positive that almost everybody knows it. And that includes everybody who's in opposition to it right now. They see it because now almost every state is sort of dabbling with it, trying to figure out how much of the ESA program they'd like to bring on. Some of them just starting smaller, some of them just doing those with disabilities, learning disabilities, and then moving on and including more and more and more as they get comfortable with it. It's going to be here because education in general has to change. It just cannot stay where it was, the sort of factory style model that we had for many, many years. You put a teacher, four walls, a certain number of students, and bells telling you when to switch. That's antiquated. We can't do that. We're not. That's not the students we're going to be pumping out in the future. Those students in the future are going to be learning in a style that fits them, first of all, and there's going to be several different styles, and everybody knows there are different ways that kids learn, and they can't all hit those sweet spots. So you've got to let students go where they need to go, have that sweet spot hit day in and day out. But then when you got to have these kids who are more creative thinkers, we need more creative thinkers because that's what we need in the future. We're not going to send them all of them to factories all the time. And so they need to be able to learn outside the box, and ESAs allow for that. That's that flexibility you need because it allows a platform for people to come in, innovate, and deliver education in a different way. That's what ESAs do, and so we're going to need those. I don't know if we're going to get them again this session, but it's coming, and I think everybody is resigned to that. I mean, I talked to even the unions, the teachers' unions, and I think that they also know it's coming. It's just, the writing's on the wall, it's just, I don't know when it's going to come for sure.
Were you surprised at, I don't want to say the failure, because it was a nationwide thing, a worldwide thing really, but of the school systems to not be able to educate to a level that we had been used to at minimum. So many kids fell out during COVID. The computer systems weren't there. I mean, I would have thought that at this point in time we would have had teachers like yourself who are great teachers who would have made videos that would have made kids excited to want to continue watching and be able to interact through their computers. And that didn't happen. It's almost like we have a lost generation of kids over a 2-3 year period.
Yeah, first of all, I lament the fact that this actually occurred, and that secondly, we did fail our students. Too many of them just weren't engaged during that time period. They weren't in front of a teacher, they weren't really engaged in front of that computer, and we've lost them. That learning loss is substantial. I think it's going to get, I think we're going to discover that it was even more substantial than we thought at the beginning. My wife happens to work for an online charter school. It's Leadership Academy of Nevada. And there is a big difference between those who really know how to deliver that education across the computer and those who really don't, because they don't specialize in it. I think that the teachers and the school districts, they pivoted as best they could and did the best they could. There's some that didn't do very well. I will say that. I felt like CCSD could have done a little bit better. Some of the policies that I heard coming from them, students were getting online but were not required to be on camera. So you don't know if that student was ever really engaged, because they would turn it on and leave, or whatever they might have been doing. Whereas the charters were very engaged. The students were in the cameras, in front of the cameras. Teachers were talking to them. There was, face to face, and if you will, via technology, but they were still learning. But I think that right there tells us that we have people who can deliver education. Like I keep saying that word because it's really important. It's the delivery of education, and we need to diversify that, because some people are really good at different things. As we have seen with technology in general, right? That if you give companies and folks an opportunity to find different ways to deliver a product, they will come up with innovative ways that hit people in the right way. And so that's where the education needs to go. But that's where I think that right there, COVID was a huge wake up. For those who really were teetering on, well, do we really need something like an ESA? I heard from them over the course of COVID, and they all said, yes, we absolutely would have thrived had we had the ability to choose during COVID and then have our kids or grandkids, a lot of grandparents who are actually starting to teach at home because they were forced to. They all kind of said, hey, if we had had something that allowed us the flexibility like an ESA, we probably would have had minimal learning loss, if any.
What about the social cost?
Yeah, the social cost, I mean, when you talk about the cost of COVID, I kind of lump it all together. I think that there was just a lot of things. Social cost, kids now are suffering sort of this anxiety that we probably won't even know exactly what it is for 10, 20 years, when people are looking back and studying this time period, and the students that went through COVID. I think they're going to be doing a lot of studies and finding out that there was a human interaction deficit. I think in general, the anxiety levels went up. So it's not been a good time. It was not a very good time. I think that we kind of failed in our policies during that time.
All right, let's take a break. More with State Senator Scott Hammond after this timeout.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
It's the Lucky Lexus Cash and Free Play giveaways at Tamarack. Weekly cash and free play winners plus a $20,000 cash winner guarantee. And drive home a brand new Lexus NX30 or walk away with $42,500 in cash. It's a good time to win at Tamarack Casino.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with State Senator Scott Hammond. He's a Republican of District 18. Last year, you requested a federal investigation into North Shore Labs, a politically connected COVID testing contractor that received a state contract under previous Governor Sisolak's administration, despite significant errors in their testing accuracy. Did that investigation ever take place?
It's taking place now. I've had some calls from federal officials, and I'll be going in and speaking with them. And I didn't take that lightly. You know, I'm one of those guys who rarely will say anything. I'm not the guy who gets in front of a camera and starts screaming. And I'm not, you know, it's not like I can get in front of media and want to make sure that people see me, right? And asking, you know, questions or throwing out all the red meat and things like that. It's just not my personality. So when I decided to do this, it was because I really felt like there was something wrong here. Because let me explain just a second here.
Sure.
You know, at the beginning of COVID, it was all about making sure we're saving lives, saving lives, saving lives. And, you know, we all shut down for 2 weeks, right? The first 2 weeks was about shutting down and making sure we understood what was going on with COVID and how it was interacting with our day-to-day lives. And I think a lot of us said, okay, we'll do that. We'll shut down for 2 weeks. It turned out to be a lot longer than that, but it was all about saving lives. And then along comes this revelation that there was a company that got some of our money, our state money, to go out there and contract with different entities to deliver testing. And that testing was severely flawed because that company didn't know what they were doing. We're sending back tests to Chicago and getting results back. And a lot of those results were telling folks, you're okay, go ahead and go out there and socialize or be out there and go to work and things like that. And who knows how many more people they infected. And so I felt like, so we're telling people, stay home. We're gonna make sure we mitigate, and we're gonna make sure we don't pass this along to everybody. But then we're gonna hire companies who do a shoddy job of protecting and making sure that, you know, we know if we have COVID or we don't have COVID. But we didn't do a very good job, and now those people are out there possibly infecting other people. Well, that needed to be investigated. I think that there's, you know, we needed to find out how that happened. How did that relationship happen? How did we give them that contract? How did they continue after all these red flags went up and people were telling the administration, hey, there's something going on here. You know, maybe we need to pull the plug on these folks, but, you know, nothing happened. And so I just felt like we needed to do something.
Let's change topics to congressional races. You were a candidate in 2018 for the 3rd District, Congressional District. Do you see any more congressional bids in your future?
I don't think so. I really don't. I tell you, the last 3 weeks I had my 11-year-old daughter up here with me. She's online learning, and I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy my kids. I like to be around my kids. And the more I think about that trip to DC, the harder it would be for me to do that. The only way I would do that is if my own children said, we really want you to do this. And they probably will say that because they like, you know, pushing me and helping me out. But at the same time, I really like being around in their lives. I got a daughter that plays volleyball all the time. I got another daughter who really likes to be around dad a lot, play basketball, hang out, go to movies, and I would miss that tremendously. And you'd only have that one time in your life. So I don't see that run, but, you know, stranger things have happened.
Has that 3rd Congressional District seat become a safe Democratic seat, do you feel, or is it still a swing seat?
It's become a safer Democratic seat. I think it can still be a swing seat, but it's absolutely a little bit safer for them.
Who do you see running against Jackie Rosen? Because that, you know, April Becker's name has been mentioned, who ran against Susie Lee and CD3 last time. But, you know, are there any other names that you feel should be out there floating?
Oh, I'm sure the other people's choices. I haven't heard. You know, the thing is, I talk to a lot of people, and I just haven't heard a lot of people say, I'm going to
And doesn't that surprise you?
Yeah.
That we're this close? Jackie Rosen has already announced her campaign, and it's underway.
Well, not only has she announced.
And a lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah. She's also talked about a lot of money, and that is it's a lot of money coming out of one campaign already early. So I don't know, maybe she's scaring a lot of people away from taking a serious shot at it, but I have not heard too many other people's names come up.
And, you know, they always say, you know, in a Senate race, it's that first re-election that is the toughest. And if they get past that, then they could be in that seat for a long time. So you would think that there would be a Republican candidate jumping out.
Yeah, I think the closest one that I could say that I thought would have a really good shot was Mark Hutchinson, and then he took off. So I don't think he's not going to be around for a run. So I don't know what other candidates we have out there.
Interesting. All right, let's take another break. We'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Located in the heart of Carson City, the Bank Saloon is a historic watering hole with a modern feel. With a variety of classic cocktails featuring Nevada spirits, space for private events, conferences, and an incredible atmosphere, the Bank Saloon offers a great location to work and play. Come visit us. Located at the corner of 5th and Carson, we'll save you a drink.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with State Senator Scott Hammond. He's the Republican of District 18. We were talking about North Shore Labs, and you were saying that you were going to be called into an investigation. With who?
Well, I remember you asking me where we are with that, and I told you they're serious, that they're still investigating. The FBI has called me and asked me to come in and interview and give a statement or two. And so I think that they're still seriously looking into what was happening out there. So folks, I think the citizens of the state of Nevada really want to know what the answers are. I don't just ask for them lightly. I really want to know, and I think a lot of other people too want to know. And so I'm glad that they're still doing this.
You're a co-sponsor of SB 128, dealing with the new scourge of drug trafficking, which is fentanyl. It's not the only bill on this matter in the legislature. What would you like to see come out of the legislature this year in terms of punishment for fentanyl possession and trafficking, where we don't go so overboard as we did in the war on drugs? What would you like to see?
Look, when we've decriminalized, at least in our state, the use of marijuana. But since we've done that, we've also seen a rise in the black market, the illicit market. And so one of the things that I've been working on with between the industry, the cannabis industry, and the regulators, the CCB, we've been trying to figure out how do you tackle the illicit market. And of course, an extension of that is when you're tackling that, you're also tackling other problems like fentanyl, and drug busts are still going to be a part of that. I don't want to go back to the war on drugs necessarily, but you do have to criminalize some of that activity, and it's got to be a significant sort of criminalization that will produce results, get things off the streets, or get people either out of the illicit market or back, or have those people enter the legal market. And so what I'd like to see is a little bit more coordination between the state and local entities. And I think we're going to have some money put into their efforts to try and get people, again, not just the dealer who's got a few ounces of marijuana on him, but some significant criminal elements that have a infrastructure out there where you've got, I think we're all amazed when we find out that there's 5 or 6 Chinese immigrants that are here illegally that are out there with these very large marijuana farms, and on these federal property, actually federal lands, right? They're out there. These are places that people go hiking, and they're out there with these marijuana farms. And I think we need to cut down on those.
Okay, but isn't the problem that the amount of taxation and regulation that we have over marijuana has raised the cost so greatly that the comparison between buying something that's a legal product and something that's an illegal product, it makes it tough for somebody who's on a budget, shall we say.
Yeah, so...
And I don't mean to sound ironic, but I mean that is.
Well, it's, for somebody like me, and I think most people who know about me, that I'm not the cannabis king, and yet they asked me to come in and start mediating between the regulators and the industry, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of months understanding that. So you're absolutely right. What I've learned is that it's not just one little problem, it's actually like 3 or 4. Some of the low-hanging fruit is education. I was amazed to find out that if you're a tourist coming into Las Vegas and you look up, there's an app that you can look up to see if anybody can deliver cannabis to your hotel room, and there's 5 or 6 places around, it shows on the map, these 5 or 6 places that'll come and deliver. Well, as a tourist, you had no idea that you're not allowed to deliver cannabis, and those operators are probably doing it illegally.
And yet that it is legal in certain places in Southern California, for example.
Right, and so we need to do a better job of educating, do a better job of regulating, trying to find that sweet spot so we're not overtaxing people, we're not making sure that the illicit market is able to exist in in this climate because we've overregulated and overburdened our cannabis industry. And then you also have to go after those really bad actors, those folks out there that are hurting our people. Fentanyl is a serious it's a serious problem right now. So,
oh, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right, that's where we have to leave it for today. Please come back before end of session. It's always great to see you.
Good to be here with you.
And I want to come see your office because you always have the coolest office,
That's
apart
what
from
people
Steve
say.
Yeager's donut wall.
Thank you, Sam.
And we'll be right back.
The casino industry drove Nevada's economy for decades. By the 1990s, however, the state's sole industry was in sharp decline. Many were losing their homes, many were leaving the state. Is Reno on track to be the Detroit of the West? Was an October 2010 Reno Gazette-Journal headline. Nevada knew it was time for a change and a time to diversify. Story County took that lead, took risks, invested tens of millions transforming its desert into a place of opportunity and a future for Nevada families needing something new. That desert now provides thousands of high-paying tech, advanced manufacturing, and energy careers at companies like Tesla, Panasonic, Google, Switch, and Redwood Materials. Story County transformed Northern Nevada forever, and the tide of opportunity has raised all vessels through construction contracts, high-paying careers, and the power of payroll. Tens of millions have been generated in sales and property tax, permits, and other revenues for Reno, Sparks, Washoe County, and for all of Nevada. Enough, in fact, to generate a surplus after public services are provided. And best of all, a sustainable economic climate has been created, enabling our children to stay in Nevada and live prosperous lives in their home state. Story County, improving Northern Nevada one industry at a time.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerauer, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
Our thanks to the Bank Saloon in Carson City and the Builders Alliance for their help with our coverage of the 2023 legislative session. We'll see you on the next broadcast.